What's up guys, Canis here. I wanted to make a complete tutorial of all the wrong warps used in any percent of Donkey Kong Country 2. To me this is what really drew me to this game, all these interesting glitches that can be used to skip certain levels. And if you're first learning the game, some of these are pretty important as they're the biggest time saves you can do early on. The first thing I want to point out is this game has multiple versions, 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2. You cannot do wrong warps, well, most of them, on the 1.0 version. So if you have a 1.0 version, you won't be able to really do these. So the way you know is look at the back of your cart. You'll see a number engraved, and it's right in the center there. If you have the letter A or the letter B after the number, that means you have version 1.1 and 1.2 respectively, which are good. You want those. However, if you just see a number and no letter afterwards, you have a 1.0 cart, which means unfortunately you won't really be able to follow along with this. Now I should point out that Wii Virtual Console is always the version that'll work. So if you have Virtual Console, then you're good to go. So I'm going to go through all the wrong warps in the route. And I've chosen a particular order, basically covering the basics first, and then emphasizing the ones that save the most time for the least cost next, moving all the way on to the hardest ones that save the least time towards the end. Another thing I want to point out is if you have any way to use save states when learning these, it'll be extremely useful. So either emulator, virtual console saves, or if you're using Super Nintendo, you can get what's called a game saver, which allows you to have a single save state on Super Nintendo. Now it's not required to have these. I didn't have save states when I first learned, but it will definitely reduce the time it takes to learn these. So having said that, let's jump right in to Mainbrace Mayhem. So this is the first wrong warp I want to show you, not because it's necessarily one you want to go for right away when you're learning to speedrun, but it's because I think it's the best example of the basics of what wrong warps are all about. First thing I want to do here is I'm going to get rid of Dixie. So let me explain here. Oops, well, I got Dixie back now. Basically, almost all the wrong warps in this game involve getting an invisible object, which is something that you hold in your hand or your hair if you're Dixie. That's basically a glitched object that you can't see, and it's used to corrupt memory. And if you throw these objects or use them in a certain way, the game won't know what to do, so it'll behave as though you beat the level. So basically, I want to start by showing you how to do what's called Beetle clashing. This is the most basic way of getting an invisible object. So basically what you do is you get on one of these beetles here and you want to bounce off of them so they're on their back and pick them up. By the way, anytime you see the screen go blank like that, that's me using the game saver to save or load something. So once you have the beetle in your hand, what you want to do is, it'll actually probably be easier to show you here. You want to you want to face away from a second beetle and let them approach Diddy until they're really close to his butt. Like somewhere around here. I think it's about a 6-frame window, but yeah, right around here. You can use Diddy's tail as a cue. What you're going to want to do is you're going to release Y and repress it really fast. Just like that. And you'll know you did it right if Diddy kind of pops up into the air like that. If you were to be too early, Diddy will just throw the beetle, and if you're too late, Diddy will simply take damage. But Diddy popped into the air, which means the game is already sort of in a glitched state. So what you want to do from here is you want to hit the beetle in your hand against the other beetle. So just kind of walk into it like that. There you go. Diddy is now holding an invisible object. And that's called clashing right there. So essentially the way it works is there are seven slots, so to speak, in the game's memory for storing objects that are currently loaded into the game. And basically anything you hold in your hand is assigned to one of those objects. And if you destroy something but still are holding an invisible object like this, that means the game isn't sure what you're holding, but it's still assigned to that particular slot in memory. So essentially what you want to do is you want to load some other object into that slot by using the camera to get that object on screen. And once done, when you throw something, it'll basically throw that object. So you saw right there, the barrel went flying across the screen that was over here. That was because that barrel was loaded into the memory slot that the beetle was in when I turned the beetle into an invisible object. So the goal of the rung warp in this level is to basically do the same thing, except we're going to be using it on underneath the level. There's a warp barrel that takes you out of the level, and we're going to be grabbing that object. So let me start the level over here. So starting from the beginning, now keeping in mind you need to load the objects into memory in a certain order. The camera basically needs to behave in a certain way and load these things onto the screen in a certain order. Now, an easier way to say that is if you move the way everyone else moves, it'll work. But I'll go over some of the things that can make it work or not work. So essentially what you want to do when you first come into the level, you want to not kill that beetle and skip that first barrel, roll through these two rats. Normally you would already have Dixie here. Now on this rope, you don't want to go too high. You don't want to be up here, because that starts to load stuff above the camera. Which, by the way, I should point out, things are loaded into memory just before they show up on camera. So if you were to add like sort of 1 or 2 Kong's lengths to the edge of the screen, like their height, then that's about how far away things will start to load. But anyway, to make this work, you need to not go too high on this rope, and you want to bounce on this beetle. Now, bouncing on beetles can be tricky at first. Usually I'll either let go of the D-pad when I land on them, or hold right. But you need to sort of land on the edge of them, or else you will kill the beetle. So yeah, let me demonstrate. So if you were to land on the center, see, I almost fell right back on top of him, which would have killed him. But anyway, once you have the beetle here, you want to squeeze through this little crack, come down here. Don't go too far left, and you're going to do the beetle clash here. Get your invisible object and face right away. Alright, so now is the tricky part. We need to throw this object in a very particular position, and I will show you what that is right now. Alright, so using these lines here. So yes, if you can see these white lines, this is about the X position where you want to do the throw in order to make it work. If too far left, it won't work, or too far right, it won't work. Essentially what you're doing is when you jump over to the right, you're removing this barrel down here from memory. And as you swing back left again around this area, you load it back. Now, the way you jump is very important to making this work. You want to basically jump out to the right and then like swing back left And you want to throw on the way down. Don't throw on the way up. And so basically right after the peak of your jump, you'll be facing left inside that little area that I showed with the lines. And when you do the throw, it should work. So let's do that. So there you go. That's a perfect example of not hitting the beetles right. So I land on the edge and grab them like that. Do the clash. I jump out and throw just like that. So as you saw, that was right between the area that I pointed out earlier. So yeah, right after the peak of the jump. Let me do the whole thing. I don't think my controller was on camera that time, so let's do it again. So clash, jump out on the way down. Ooh, face left. So that time I was too far right. I did not throw at the right time. So it is very particular. You got to do it exactly a certain way. So jump out, come back, throw left. You kind of have to go to the right pretty far before you swing back left. But again, just make sure you throw it on the way down from your jump, not on the way up. And don't wait too long or you'll just fall. So one more time. Flash. Throw. Alright, now one more thing I want to point out, since I'm basically showing this wrong warp because it's the most basic one. Dixie clashing. So Dixie can do the same thing with the beetles, and you'll need to know how to do it with both monkeys. The way hers works is actually easier. She has a bigger frame window, and what you do is you face the beetle, and somewhere starting around here, you would release Y and repress it. Similar thing right there. And you can do the same thing with her, except you wouldn't normally have her in this level during the any percent route. So anyway, that's Mainbrace. I should point out that if you fail the wrong warp but you survive, you can usually still just take the normal warp that's underneath the mast there. Alright, so now moving on to another level that sort of has the most basic kind of technique. It's Hothead Hop right here, first level in World 2. This one doesn't save a ton of time, so I don't recommend going for it right away. But again, it's the principles behind this are what's important for doing all the wrong warps in the game. So, whereas before we used a Beetle, this time we're going to turn a Klobber, aka this barrel guy, into an invisible object. That guy, so a similar thing can happen with him, but essentially what you're doing is you want to jump on him with this chest in your hand and have the chest land on top of him and then try to pick the Klobber up. And since he's being destroyed by the chest at the same time, the game picks up an invisible object. Now, in order for this particular invisible object to work, you will need to... hold on. So this crocodile over here, you will not get an invisible object if he is not completely loaded into the camera at some point during the level. So you need to make sure you go far enough right that his entire head is on camera, not just up to his eyes, like the whole head has to be on camera. So to do that, as you approach, see how I made sure to go extra right there. Like when I jumped towards him, you want to go extra right so the camera loads that croc, but you also want to land approximately in the bottom of this divot right here. And if you do that, you should bounce him backwards, but not back far enough to fall into the lava, and he'll start chasing after you. Alright, so do it all a little more in real time. Load the croc, he chases you, grab the chest, jump. You have an invisible object now. So another important detail for making sure that works is you need to be facing right when the guy bounces into you. So he's always going to bounce into you right here. You need to be facing right when that happens, or else it won't work. I used to always make the mistake of like facing left when I bounce, thinking that, oh, I'll get left faster and it'll be quicker, but no, that can break it. So essentially, after you bounce into the guy, you want to run straight to the chest, and basically as soon as you grab it, you want to jump basically straight up and land on the center of him. Now that didn't work because the things weren't loaded right, and I think it was bad timing from all the pauses. So let me do it one more time, full speed. Roll over here, go through the rat, load the croc, bounce, facing right, jump on him, invis. Now, when the chest is falling on him, I sort of try to position myself so that Diddy would grab the Klobber. So it like you'll bounce when you jump on him with the chest, and when you're done with that bounce, you want to be like right on top of the barrel as though you're trying to pick it up. So for this wrong warp, you don't actually, summon a barrel to you like you do in Mainbrace, but you're still corrupting the warp barrel, which is hidden way off screen up here. And to do that, you need to throw this invisible object in a certain spot. And that certain spot is generally around the bottom of this little valley here. But it changes depending on whether you are facing left or right when you got the invisible object. If you come over here, you jump on the Klobber, you get the invis, and you're facing left already, you want to throw it around here. No, wait, that's not true. You want to face it, you want to throw it further back if you're already facing left. Whereas if you were to, what I usually do is I get the object facing right, and then I turn left. Then you want to throw sort of on the left side of the V here. Now sometimes you might throw the black chest up here, this thing. That means you are not in the right position here. It's basically the left-right position has to be precise. So just to demonstrate the whole thing, bounce, load the croc, get the invis. I start by facing right. I go to the left side of that V, I throw, and then you just need to go into the warp barrel. Just like that. Now, sometimes you might throw into the warp barrel and it doesn't wrong warp you. Again, that usually means either you didn't load the crocodile head in the lava, or you didn't throw from the right location here. So, just, again, to demonstrate, if you're to be facing left when you get the invis, this time, you want to throw from further right, or it won't work. If you were to throw as far left as I did the first time, it would fail. Alright, and so as long as we're talking about this wrong warp, I'll talk about a minor optimization you can do to save time. This is a slightly more advanced method, but what you would do is as soon as you roll into this rat, you do a quick wiggle of the D-pad. You'll be rolling right and just press left, right real quick. And you will continue your roll into the Klobber. So let me start from the beginning to show what I mean. You roll into the rat, wiggle, then roll into him. And you'll roll towards the chest to get the invis. So basically, because you're doing a little wiggle there, you're saving the time that would normally be spent doing this big old jump and all that. So again, that one's just hit the rat, wiggle, roll to the chest, jump on him, get the invis. And that's definitely a harder way to do it, but once you get the main method down, you'll probably want to switch to that. And yeah, so that's basically what all the wrong warps in the game are like. You're either taking a beetle, making that an invisible object, and throwing that in a certain spot, or you're doing a Klobber bash, or whatever you call it, where you land on a Klobber and turn it into an invisible object. So yeah, basically those two wrong warps I just did are really good ways to practice your basic techniques. But now I'm going to shift gears and actually move on to the skips that save the most time for the least amount of effort. So this is, at this point, this is basically the order that I recommend learning everything in, as far as wrong warps go. So we're going to start with Castle Crush here. This isn't technically a wrong warp. It's technically a summon, but it works the same way. So let me first say this saves like 3 minutes, so it's a really big deal. And in order for it to work, you need to enter the level with 2 monkeys already. Because at some point you will be intentionally taking damage as one of these monkeys. So you got to actually be aware of this and keep that in mind in the level before, which is Windy Well. You exit Windy Well here and you only have 1 Kong. Do not go into Castle Crush left. What you'll want to do in that situation is go back into Arctic Abyss, because it has a DK barrel really close to the entrance right here. You'll want to grab that, start select out, so that you enter Castle Crush with 2 monkeys. So yeah, that's basically it. This is the easiest skip to do, but if you're totally new to it, it can still be tricky at first. Essentially, you cannot take damage throughout this level. You'll just want to roll through the rat, roll through this guy, and this barrel right here is called the companion barrel. You need to make sure this barrel doesn't break or open. When this guy on the right dies, load him off camera to reduce lag. So right here, you would put the barrel down and kill the rat. Basically, the goal here is to just not break the barrel at all costs. Again, here I put the barrel down. I can roll through him and grab it again. And I always jump here just in case the spiny comes far enough left to hit you. He usually doesn't, but he does actually sometimes to some people. So again, you'll put the barrel down for these 2 guys. If you want, you can jump over the last 2 because that reduces lag a little bit. And just let the barrel sit there for a while. And you want to kill this guy by first jumping over his hook, then rolling into him from up here. And again, killing him in that fashion prevents lag. So this bee right here killed one of my runs not too long ago. Like 99.9% of the time, he won't hit you if you're just standing flush against the right wall. But I guess sometimes he can. So just in case, I got in the habit of just always jumping right here. Just do a little jump. Just stay right, and then come over here, and this is where the magic happens. So essentially what you're going to want to do is put the barrel down and pick it up at the same time. So the inputs for that is you'll be against the wall, like all the way left, flush against the wall. You'll be holding down, and then you'll just release Y and repress it while holding down. Done properly, you will put the barrel down and try to pick it up again when you repress Y, but the barrel will already have been destroyed by this wall here. And this needs to be done at a particular location. So basically right here, see the bottom of this chain thing? When the crusher reaches this line, that's when you want to do the barrel release that I just explained. Too high or too low, you might have problems. So yeah, when you do that, after you do that, you're going to want to take damage from the spiny that's about to attack. And when you do that, crazy stuff happens. So let me go to save state. So right when it reaches that chain, do that. You'll take damage and the goal will appear, saving tons and tons of time. So again, just holding down, release and repress Y. Then immediately go over to the right. Get hit by that guy. Now, here's a really important thing about this trick is after you take damage from him and Dixie pops into the air, you need to land in a certain spot, or else you'll just die, actually. So generally I try to land around the top of where this chain is here. Too far left or too far right and you might have problems. And when you land, do not jump until the goal is completely spawned. If you land here and you jump too soon, you will die. Also, I strongly suggest you be facing right when you land. So when you land here, already be facing right. Because if you face left, the camera will start to go left, and that can also cause you to die. So you'll just land on top of this chain thing after taking damage, and the goal will appear. And once it's appeared, you want to just jump straight to it. Don't run to it, don't roll, don't go any other direction, just jump to it. So take damage, land on the thing while facing right, jump to the goal. You're going to want to make sure you jump on the goal before your invincibility wears out, or you'll get owned by the other spinies. Now there's a small time saver you can do here as well. After you take damage and you've landed, what you can do is you can actually do a little roll in place. So I won't be touching the D-pad, but I just do a roll here, and that'll kill the spiny that's already on the bottom level. And when he's dead and the goalpost appears, that's when I jump. So kill him, then jump on it. So real time, it looks like this. And just to demonstrate some of the things that can mess it up, if you're to land and like jump right away, you die. If you were to take damage and land too far to the right, you can't jump. I was not able to jump there. So it's very important that you basically just land in that spot facing right. So yeah. That saves like 3 minutes, and it's the single biggest skip in the whole game. As long as you can keep both Kongs in that barrel to the top, it's easy peasy. Alright, so another massive time save. It's in Chain Link Chamber right here. And it's the third to last level in the game. So it's actually quite stressful if you're on a good run, because missing this wrong warp will just immediately kill your run usually. So definitely want to put a lot of practice into this one, as it can be pretty finicky. So essentially, it all starts when you get up to about here. So you want to get to this point in the level. Make sure you're diddy. And don't go too high. And don't really go off the beaten path that I just took. So this trick works similar to how Hothead Hop worked. We're gonna again turn one of the Klobbers into an invis and throw that in a particular location. Now this is definitely harder to do than Hothead Hop, because it's just very finicky and a lot of things need to go right. So start by you're gonna jump on this guy, sort of bounce to the right, and then start coming left here and roll as soon as you land. And you can grab that chest before the guy wakes up. Did I do a save state? Let me start over here. Might as well also show the movement at the beginning of the level. I do a quick right left roll, grab that chain, 3 jumps, then 2 jumps after the B, grab the left side of that rope, right side really, and I'll put a save state here. So you'll come up here. You don't have to do the fast jumps, you can just like climb normal, but just make sure you don't get hit. And when you jump on this guy, again, you're going to want to bounce right. I'll put the save state here. And when you bounce right, it keeps that barrel guy loaded off camera long enough so you can roll to him before he wakes up. It's not a big deal if he wakes up, but it's just really annoying. Like if you try to go over here and well, I guess you don't have to bounce right. Like if you're too slow about it, that'll happen. So you definitely don't want that to happen. Make sure you basically roll as soon as you land from that. And another quick little time saver is instead of throwing him to destroy him, you can simply set him down onto the cannonball. And if you've done it quickly enough, he'll just explode that way. But key point is you do need to destroy this guy. That barrel needs to be destroyed or the glitch won't work. So real time, you come over here, grab the barrel, put it down, and it explodes, and you'll grab this cannonball. So this cannonball is the key to making the glitch work. Let me just do it once so you can see it first, get it in your head. So yeah, you'll be summoning the cannon, and when you jump into it with the cannonball, it warps you out of the level. So might take a while to get this the first time, but essentially one of the most important things about making this work is the way you fall around this corner right here. If you fall straight down, like right next to the corner without going right at all off the ledge, the glitch won't work usually. And if you go too far right to where you're like going past like halfway across this flame, then you've gone too far right, it also won't work. So you kind of want to take a path like go slightly over the edge, like about that much, maybe even less. And then you'll start holding left as you fall. And you'll land on the guy below and keep holding left. So I'm still holding left here. And at this point, you're going to want to run to a certain position. So yeah, right here, basically you can use the right side of this chain as a cue. You're going to want to run to there. And then as soon as you get there, this guy's going to wake up and you're going to turn around and go right away. Go back to the cannonball. So run to that, turn around, go right, and grab the cannonball. So that's basically step one right there. So from the top, make sure you fall the right way. So you don't want to be like right up against the wall like that. Like I took basically a 90-degree angle, and you don't want to be like all the way over there. Here's a better example. So yeah, that was really wide, so it was really obvious. So just kind of barely go off the edge. And when you land on the dude here, continue holding left. You'll automatically drop the cannonball. Run to this spot, come over here, and grab the cannonball again. So essentially, what you want to do now is on a particular timing, you're going to want to jump up and then hold left so that you're sort of falling and rubbing against this wall right here. And make sure you're holding left while you're doing this. And the idea is you want to try to jump on the guy right around the center of him. So that was too late because of all the pause buffering. But again, the motion when you come back to the cannonball would be like that. You see how I keep holding left as I'm hugging the wall there. So the timing is pretty important, and I have an audio cue for it. So listen to the noise this guy makes when he wakes up. Oh, I ruined it by pausing. So yeah, listen. So you'll notice there's an echo, like he kind of makes this, and then it like sort of echoes and trails off. The third time you hear the noise, that's when you jump. So he goes, and on the last, that's when you want to jump. So basically, yeah, listen for that. So check it out. 1, 2, 3, and that's the timing. So yeah, you don't want to jump too early. If you like, sometimes when I get antsy, I'll go too fast. Yeah, I'll like basically do this. That's not it. It's hard to give examples of doing it wrong. So yeah, something like that, basically. That was over exaggerated, but yeah, you don't want to be too early. If you're too late, and you'll just like go off into the distance and you'll feel like an idiot. So listen for that echo. So you'll hear the 3 rahs. On the third rah, you jump and hold left. Just like that. I think it's a full jump, or at least a medium jump. It's not like a short hop or anything. Hold B for a good amount of time there. Now, there's two ways that you can end up here. Either facing left when you get the invis, or facing right. Usually what you want to do is, as you're falling and landing on the dude, you want to be holding left, and then once you're around over here, turn around right and grab him while already facing right. That's an optimization, because when you're already facing right, that means the camera is already going to the right a bit, which you kind of need to have happen here because you're loading the cannon from off screen to the right here. And if you were to get the invis while already facing left, see, the camera is all the way over here now, so you gotta wait for the camera to go to the right. And you see, like, the camera doesn't just snap into position, it kind of just slowly meanders over there. That's how the camera works in this game. So if you were to be facing left, you're gonna have to wait a bit before you throw. Now, a really safe way to do it is once you have the invis, you can run back to this chain again and then run out and do the throw. Oh yeah, magic. When you do the throw, so again, you really need to be facing left when you do the throw. So you're jumping out to the right because you have to be sort of off the ledge. You need to be further right than this ledge here. But then you want to hook around, be facing left, and throw facing left. And if you've done everything correct up to this point, the cannonball, or the cannon, will be spawned. And just hop in it and you'll warp out of the level. If you do the throw facing right, you'll still summon the cannon, but when you go into it, the game glitches out, and long story short, it shoots you upward for a very long time, but doesn't exit the level, and you lose a ton of time. So yeah, let me show various ways you can do this. So the way I started is go over here, wake the guy up, and be facing left when I grab him, because that's easier than doing the little wiggle. And from here, you would run to the side, go over here, and throw from where the chain is. So that's a safe way to do the throw. Jump out really high, do a full jump, and throw from sort of this close to the chain itself. And that's just like a really safe way to guarantee it'll work. So you might want to start doing it kind of like that, or the other safe way of doing it, which is same thing, except you do attempt to do the little wiggle there, so that you're already facing right. And you can still do this, and voila. Now, another way you can do it is, I find this is a little less consistent for beginners, but if you start by facing right, all you have to do is kind of wait here for a little bit. Just wait for not this long, like a second, then do the throw, and it should work. Again, this largely, I really want to emphasize, this largely depends on how you take this corner up here. If you take this corner correctly, it's much more likely to work. In fact, it's guaranteed to work if you do it correctly. But yeah, finally, yeah, so yeah, just that's the normal way to do it. Finally, I want to show the truly like optimal way to do it. Is you'll get the invis facing right, do very minor hesitation, and do a very small jump and summon the cannon as close to you as possible. And that's the fastest way to do it. If you set it up like correctly, you almost don't need to hesitate at all. See how like quickly I was able to do the throw? But that takes a lot of practice, and it's much safer to just be like that. It really doesn't even save that much time, but eventually you'll probably want to work up to doing that. So yeah, that's Chain Link Chamber. Actually, one really important thing I want to mention is if you mess it up, either you throw the invisible object and nothing happens, or let's say you fail to get the invisible object in the first place and like the guy gets destroyed. Essentially what you need to do is reload the area. And I used to be silly and just kill myself and start the level over. What I didn't realize is that a much easier way to reload the area is you can take the cannonball and just go into this bonus right here. And yeah, you'll just immediately lose the bonus. And then the area will be loaded again from scratch, and you'll be a little bit above where we just were, but you can just roll down here and, oh look, we're back. You can try again. So yeah. And also I want to point out, if you mess up in such a way that you lose the cannonball down here, the cannonball will still be spawned up top, so you just go back up and grab it and then go into the bonus. And just the very last thing I want to point out here is you got to be careful to actually land back on the ledge after you summon the cannon. I used to sometimes summon the cannon but then just like fall, in which case it'll despawn. So yeah, don't want that to happen. But yeah, if you were to just do the Castle Crush wrong warp, it's not really wrong warp, but screw it, it's a wrong warp, and you do this chain link chamber wrong warp, already right there you've probably saved at least 5 minutes in the speed run. So yeah, you should probably learn those right away. So yeah, moving on to the next biggest time save. It's in World 3. And this level is called Slime Climb. So similar to Castle Crush, for this wrong warp, you really want to enter with 2 monkeys. And if you accidentally enter with only 1 monkey, you'll have to kill yourself. And the quickest way to get another monkey is in Krakhead here. Just start the level, roll over here, and hit this dude with that barrel, start select out. Yeah. I want to have Dixie in front here for demonstration purposes. So Slime Climb, the optimal... Alright, let me slow down here. This wrong warp is basically in 2 parts. You have a super jump that takes you like halfway through the level just by like jumping really high. That's part 1. Then the second part is you throw an invisible object and wrong warp out. But let's just start by breaking down the super jump. So essentially the way it works is when you're underwater and you swap Kongs, let me demonstrate. You do a swap underwater, you've stored basically a glitch where the next time you take damage from anything that's not in water, if you just hold B, and you don't like do whatever I did to mess that up. If you just hold B, I guess it has to be kind of soon. Yeah, you'll go flying up. It's like really high. You'll get this really slow falling state as well. So I guess the game's confused whether or not you're in water. It just doesn't know where to put you. But yeah, there's a limit to the height of that jump. I basically reached it. I'll keep holding B, and this will be as far as I can go up. Right around here. Well, yeah, right around there. That's as far as I can go up because I got killed. So anyway, the timing for swapping underwater is actually kind of hard. Took me a while to get it down. What I do is I roll into the water. I do a single paddle, and that paddle gets me back to the surface of the water, and then I swap. And the reason for doing it that particular way is this fish down here is good at eating you. It's his job, you know. Let's say you try to swap, he'll just hit you. So if you try to swap, like as soon as you go in the water, he'll get you every time. So yeah, go under, swap, he gets me. So you got to go under, do a paddle, then swap at a particular timing, and then just jump out of the water as soon as you can before he chomps you. So one more time, just roll, paddle, select, and you don't want to be too slow either, because I think you'll get something like, yeah, see, he almost got me. That was kind of lucky there. And then basically you want to continue up the level and then jump into this beetle right here. And that's the beetle that you'll get the super jump off of. So full speed. It seems like if you just take too long with the stored super jump, it won't work. So you need to make sure you get up there kind of fast. Yeah, you'll take damage and you'll come flying all the way up here. This DK barrel. I want to also show a safer way to do it. So if you're having trouble with the underwater swap strat, one thing you can do that's way easier is go over here and you can roll through these two beetles as Diddy. And that'll give you a ton of speed, which makes it much harder for the fish to get you. And that's because I paused. Let's try that again. So yeah, you would come over here, roll through the beetles, and it's, yeah, the guy usually won't get you that way. Now keep in mind, if you do it that way, you have a different calling order, so it's going to change what happens up above. So I'll go over the variation where you start as Diddy afterwards, but let's continue on with the rest of the level as though you did it with Dixie. This is the optimal strat. Go under, roll through these two beetles, climb these ropes kind of like this, hit this guy. Now when you're going up here, you want to kind of go at a up and left angle, more up so than left. And again, so since you have all these objects being loaded into memory, it's kind of important you move similar to how everyone else does it, or you might mess up those object IDs. So again, you're just going to slowly move your way left till this DK barrel. And you'll grab the DK barrel. Very bad reps. So yeah, come up like this. I'm kind of just tapping left, as you can see, to control my pace of going up and left. And now another thing I should point out is because I did the super jump, it was too fast for the water to keep up. So it's actually permanently unloaded. There's no water. It'll never come up and reach you. So that's actually an important thing for making this glitch work. You'll need the water unloaded later. But all right, let's continue on. So IDs are really important. So you need to make sure you load things exactly the way I'm doing it. You'll come to the left side of this rope. You'll hover over this rope, and you want to stay on the right side of this rope. Don't be over here. Be over here. Just like that. Bam. And yeah, just make sure you aren't going too far left here, because if you go left, they'll load this guy right here, which you don't want to do yet. So what you, oh my god, I meant to put a save closer to that. It's all good. I need to work on my rope much better. Yeah, come over here, get the DK barrel. I'll save here. This is how I normally do it. Just jump across there, stay on the right side. You can still jump like this, jump up the rope, but try to stay on the right side of the rope if you do it like that. Kind of like this. And yeah, I guess that guy still does load. For some reason, it really does make a difference if you're on the right side of this rope versus coming up like over here. Anyway, what you want to do is, once you're at the top there, you're gonna want to jump to the right. So you're loading this right beetle before you load the left beetle. Get him on camera and just make sure like he's solidly on camera. I usually even wait here a second for the beetle to kind of get closer to the center of this pole here. And at which point I will turn around. Now grab the left beetle, do a Dixie clash, get the invisible object. Now, so yeah, if you don't get the right object IDs, the glitch won't work. So make sure you're doing it basically like this. Like that. So make sure the right one loads, keep it on camera a little bit to be safe, and continue on. There's other ways to do this. So more aggressive way, just kind of do that. That's what world record currently does. Like it barely keeps that right beetle on camera at all, but especially for beginners, that's going to be a little more inconsistent because the shorter duration you leave that right beetle on camera, the more risk you're taking, basically. And there's a new way discovered to do this as well, to set up the IDs more consistently. I've never actually done it before, but I've heard it described to me. I think essentially what you do is you jump into this barrel down here, and whenever you do this, it sets the IDs up correctly, I think. So that might be a good, easy way to do it. Oh wait, this is the wrong beetle. So, yeah, it would look like this. In fact, let me go ahead and test it out, so I'm not giving you the wrong information. So you jump over here, stay low. Oh my god, I cannot jump on beetles, apparently. Should get Diddy here. Yeah, stay low, go into the barrel, then jump on this guy. Do your clash. And let me see if this actually works here. Cool. So yeah, that's probably the easiest way for beginners to do the trick, is go in that barrel. But if you want to be brave, just jump up like that, load the right beetle first, do the clash. Now, as you saw there, I fell into the bonus, and right before I got to the bonus, I turned left and threw. The height at which you do the throw is basically the key to whether or not you've done this part of it correctly or not. So I have a visual cue here. So as you're falling, you're going to want to be looking for these dark posts on this pole. As you're falling, so you'll see 1, 2, with the second one's a small one, and you'll get a third small one right here. This is actually, you can't see it, but it's right above the bonus. The bonus is basically right beneath this banana here. So the way I look at it is, I want to do the throw when Dixie is below about halfway through this last third dark line. Other people have different visual cues, but I find this is the easiest for me. So again, yeah, the visual cue would be up here. So somewhere underneath the center of this, you want to do your throw while facing left. Now this isn't going to work because I'm too far left and I can't get the barrel. But in real time, let me do a real time. I keep missing that barrel. Load the beetle, keep them on camera extra long if you want to be safe. Get the invis. You're going to be falling, you're going to be facing right until you get to that third post. Then you turn left and do the throw at that height. Yeah. It sounds complicated, and there are a lot of things that can go wrong. But really that's the gist of it. If you do the throw too high, or actually, yeah, let's just show this first since I did it by accident. If you don't even get the throw off before you fall into the bonus, which means you're too late, what'll happen is pretty interesting here. Game will just kind of chill. And then you'll go into the bonus, which isn't good. Sometimes what you'll get instead, sometimes in that particular situation, you will it'll kind of sit there on the main screen here, and eventually the barrel will just like shoot you upwards to the top of the level, which is really, really weird. Let me see if I can get that to happen. So if I'm just like facing right, no, I can't get it to happen. I'm not sure what causes that, but sometimes you might get lucky and basically the cannon will shoot you to the top of the level. But again, you kind of have to get lucky. So check this out. I'm at the beginning of the level again. At the end of this bonus, you're supposed to be sent to midway. But because I went into the bonus with the invisible object still not thrown, sometimes, again, this is considered lucky, and you'll be at the start of the level, which means you can try again. Now, if you do the throw too high, or you don't load the beetles and other objects correctly, what you'll get is you'll just get the bonus game, which sucks. Because this wrong warp saves like over 40 seconds. So yeah, let me just do a way too high throw. And yeah, so straight to the bonus. That's not good. So just make sure you throw at the right height, you load the right beetle first, or you can do the safe strat. Now, if you do get the bonus and you don't want to reset, I'm going to show how to do the backup route. Like, most people don't seem to know this, but yeah, you can definitely mitigate your time loss if you do the second half of the level correctly. Because what happens usually when you go into the bonus by accident, you fail, it spits you out here, and I just hit the halfway barrel of the level. There's no way of dodging it. You're just screwed. You're now at halfway, and you can't do the glitch because, you know, it all happens like way down here. Like, how are you gonna get down there? So, shoot, I want a Dixie still. Hold on, let me load. I'll just go straight for the bonus. So yeah, if this happens and you don't want to reset, I just want to show you what to do for the second half of the level. So you'll come out of the bonus. You'll switch to Diddy. Jump over here, grab the invincibility barrel, climb this rope. Roll over here. Climb this rope. Faster than that, preferably. Roll through the dragonfly and swim up here. And at the top, swap Kongs, which is storing that super jump glitch again. Climb up to here. And then jump into this B right here. And after you jump, hold left till about here, then start holding right. Boom. And that skips like a huge chunk of the level. So let me do that again. Jump to this guy, get the invincibility barrel, climb the rope quickly, preferably. Go up here. Roll through the guy. Swap Kongs there. Stay on the right side of this rope for a couple jumps, then start heading left. Jump on this guy. Wiggle around the rope, because if you don't do that little wiggle, you'll grab a much lower rope, which kind of ruins the whole point of this. Yeah, when you get up to around here, you want to grab this rope and then do this. Bounce on these guys. Make sure you're holding B when you bounce on the second mosquito. And here you are at the end. That was pretty aggressive. I mean, so if you want to be like a little safer, maybe you want to do something like this. Same thing until the super jump, basically, but you don't have to climb the ropes all like the jumps. You can just kind of climb up normal. So like you might want to just like do this, and do that. Jump in the guy. Now let me just demonstrate why we grab the rope here, because if you don't grab this rope, it takes a while to kind of land from that since he's falling real slow. And if you want to be safe, you can just kind of like bounce on these guys one at a time. And you can bounce on that guy. But if you're brave, you'll just do some big jumps and like bounce all the way across here. Come up here, roll through the two beetles, make sure you're holding B on the second dragonfly / mosquito. And that's it. But yeah, if you do it that way, you can still save like up to 20 seconds over someone who doesn't know what they're doing in the second half of the stage. And yeah, that is the one of the also the biggest time saves in the whole game. Let me make sure I mentioned everything I meant to mention. Yeah. Oh wait, did not mention everything I wanted to mention. So real quickly here, I wanted to show what happens if you do the easier water swap at the beginning. So if you want to be safe with the first part because you have trouble swapping underwater, what you can do is this strat. come up here, but now you're Dixie, which is the problem. So you're going to be doing all this as Diddy. You're going to want to do all the same like strats as far as camera loading. But here, right around when the Beetle gets to this pole here, you're going to want to swap Kongs. Oops, that was not right because of all the pausing. But yeah, when he gets there, you would just swap Kongs. Oh god. Okay, so yeah, I'm out of practice on this strat, even though it is technically easier. Yeah, when he gets there, you swap Kongs. You'll be Dixie now, and then you continue as normal. God damn. Wow. Okay. I see. Alright. This time's for real. I guess I also want to mention, you got to be careful here, because this guy can get you if you don't jump up these ropes very well. So it might be safer to just kind of go left like that at first. Anyway, so Beetle gets there, and then you swap to Dixie, and then you do the rest of it. And this should work, assuming I throw it the right height. 1, 2, 3 post things, and boom. Alright, that is Slime Climb. Moving on. This is the Krakhead Wrong Warp. It's called Krakhead Clamber, but we all call it Krakhead. I'm so used to calling it Krakhead, I don't even like notice that I'm calling it that anymore. But yeah, this is the newest Wrong Warp in the game. And it saves a lot of time. About 22 seconds. It all starts at midway. So I'll just make my way to midway. Using the strats that I would normally use. These are not beginner strats. Yeah, you get to halfway as quick as you can. Alright, so before I show what happens, I'm just going to explain like the general idea. What you want to do is bait this guy into slashing at you. And you're going to want to sacrifice Dixie by throwing her into him, but like not into him, but right in front of him so that he slashes her. And after he does that, he's going to lift his swords out of the ground like that. During that sword lifting out of the ground animation, if you were to be coming out of this barrel and holding right on the D-pad, or left, but right is better for reasons I'll get into later, it'll wrong warp you. Makes no sense. But yeah, let me show it now. Actually, I haven't. Let's get a save state. So yeah, you bait this guy into slashing at you. Sacrifice Dixie and hold right coming out of the barrel. Now that did not work, probably because of my timing. Thing here is you need to wait as long as you can before dodging this guy. The throw is too far left there. So yeah, wait as long as you can till this guy is like just about to swing at you. And go left to about, I usually go to where the bill of Diddy's cap is like just meeting this plant right here. And you basically just need to be the perfect distance from him to where Dixie will land like right in front of him and get hit by the sword as he's lifting them up. So that's about here, I think. Alright, so that was too close. So wait long, then hold right coming out of the barrel. There you go, that's the wrong warp. Now again, make sure you're holding right when you come out of that barrel or else it won't work if you just shoot straight up. So wait as long as you can from the slash at you, get the right distance, sacrifice Dixie, hold right coming out of the barrel. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty easy once you get a hang of it. Some things that can go wrong here is you don't want to be too far left when you bait this guy, because like if you try to do it over here, for whatever reason it won't work. General rule of thumb is I think you should be at least this far. And I think it's actually faster if you go a little bit further right. You don't want to go too far right though, or it won't work. So That's another thing that can go wrong if you accidentally kill him. If you accidentally kill him, you can finish the level the old-fashioned way. But I think the quickest way to recover in this situation is to just immediately jump in the water. And re-enter. Since you grabbed midway, you're already right here. And you can just try it again. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's if you accidentally kill him. Let's say if you throw too far away from him. Like let's say it was so far away that Dixie didn't even take damage, which is actually more common than you would think. That'll happen. In this case, don't worry, just do it again. All you gotta do is just set it up again. It's no big deal. Now, another scenario, this last scenario I think, is he swings at you, you throw Dixie, she dies, but you don't get the wrong warp. In this case, your best bet, I believe, is to come over here. Okay, that's not a good idea. There's a movement for this that would be considered good, and just let me get it. I've never had to do this in a run, but if this happens, you want to come over here and quickly get the barrel, and then from this Krakhead, you'll want to roll back over here. And then you set it up again. So yeah, that's what you should do, not what I did the first time. Yeah, hopefully you'll just be good at the trick and it'll work every time. And again, worst comes to worst, just finish the level. It's really not that far after halfway, and it's actually pretty fun. I will miss this level. But yeah, I think doing this is slower than if you were to, you know, just either die or get that DK barrel and try the trick again. But yeah, this is the optimal route for the second half. Oops, I messed up that read though. Very dangerous. Basically rolling just to the brink of death. Yeah, you shouldn't ever really do that, honestly, unless you're doing a warpless category, because the wrong warp's pretty easy. Yeah, that's Krakhead. So yeah, we've done basically the 4 biggest skips now: Castle Crush, Chain Link Chamber, Slime Climb, Krakhead. But there's one awful wrong warp that we still definitely need to learn. In my opinion, it's the hardest one, though Chain Link Chamber is pretty close. So Bramble Scramble, very difficult level to beat casually. And even if you're using speedrun strats and not doing the wrong warp, that is also extremely difficult. So yeah, it saves about a minute, and essentially you're doing a Beetle clash, and you're using that glitched ID on a bonus barrel. Let's see if I can demonstrate it properly before I start to explain it. So taking damage here on purpose. I'm going to turn this Beetle into an invisible object. And if done properly, bonus, which means victory. Alright, so let's go over this. This one has a lot of detail, so get ready. The IDs for getting this to work are very finicky. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go right. First of all, when you grab this DK barrel, you want to face right and then jump to the left, because if you're facing right here, the camera will cause these 2 Bs to load later, which means you can jump over them. If you weren't facing right, it's much harder to jump over those. Yeah, the glitch basically starts at the bottom of this rope right here. So I'll put a save state here. Alright, so you can divide this into 4 main steps. Step 1 is climbing this rope properly. It's very important to climb the rope the right way. Step 2 is getting the basically getting the Beetle while invincible. Step 3 is turning the Beetle into an invisible object. And then step 4 is getting into the right position and throwing that invisible object. And each step along the way kind of has certain rules that will make the trick work or not work. And I'll try to cover as much as I know. Alright, so first principle first. For this to work, this guy's hook right here, that needs to be loaded into memory when this invincibility barrel is loaded into memory. And this invincibility barrel needs to be loaded before this beetle. Sounds complicated, but basically what you want to have happen is the hook is out. Hook is still out. It's loaded in memory. I jump. Ooh, what did I just do? I use the game saver's like slowdown feature. Come up here while the hook is still out. You jump right, so the invincibility barrel loads before the beetle. So that order is very important. So let's say you're too slow at climbing, which I often am. You'll hear the click of the hook returning to the guy. If you hear that and you're like still down up here, or down here, the invincibility barrel is not loaded yet, but the guy's hook is no longer out. That means it's broken. So his hook needs to be out, and then you load the invincibility barrel like that. So I definitely had the hook out when the invincibility barrel loaded, and that definitely got loaded before the beetle here, which means it'll work. Now, another thing I should point out is it usually won't work if you let the guy throw an extra time and you have to adjust a lot. So for example, let's say you come up here, you're kind of slow and you're like, all right, well, let me try again and do that. There's a good chance this will not work because of the extra sort of wiggling up and down in this area. So you really want to try to get it in one go from the beginning. Get up to the top, load the invincibility barrel, then the beetle. If you sort of stumble around here, your best bet on fixing it is returning down to the bottom here so that these two bees load again. That usually will fix things, but not always. It's just risky in general. But I think that's your best bet. So if you mess up the rope climb and you know it's wrong, you might want to come down here and try again. Like that. Now this is the optimal rope climb. There's actually a much safer way to do it, and I recommend this for people who have any time higher than up to even like even if you have a 42, I think it's totally reasonable to do this strat because it doesn't even lose a second and a half. And everyone's like, oh, but it's so much slower and safe, but it's really a minor time loss to guarantee that the IDs are set up correctly. So the way that would work is you get on the left side of the rope, make sure you're on the left slide, let this guy throw, wait for the hook to come back, get above him, stop right around here, so he's still on camera, and then wait for him to throw the hook again. And then as soon as he throws the hook, and just climb like this. Oh my god, I did not mean to press B. So let's take a look real time. So wait here, wait for him to throw, go up. Just like that. So it's easy because you're just climbing like this. No risk of getting a bad jump. So wait here, go up. Much easier. It's definitely slower than fast ropes, but it's way safer. So yeah, last thing I want to mention is if you're doing what's called the Kipple's Corner strat, which I'll go over in a minute, you want to make sure you go extra high on this rope. So like up to here. Instead of like, if you're really pushing to be optimal for this, you can like do the jump like real low like that. But if you want to do the Kipple strat, which again I'll go over in a second, you'll want to be high. Alright, so let's get it all set up correctly. And when you get here, you want to jump on the beetle. And this is where step 2 begins. So you want to jump on the vines and damage boost up to the invis. Now this this damage boost up to the invincibility barrel, not the invis. It depends on where you land on these thorns right here. You got to make sure you land on the center. So a good visual cue is just like where these yellow ones are. If you're too far right or left, you'll bounce up, but you won't bounce high enough to get the invincibility barrel. Let me reload the level so you can hear the song that reminds everyone of their childhood. Yeah. So come up here, jump on the beetle, and I'll save here. So if you land too far right, I guess that still works. So really too far right, then you won't reach the barrel. Far left, you won't reach the barrel. Well, I guess it's a pretty wide window, but just try to be in the center of those brambles. And as you can see, when I land on it, I'm holding B, and I'm going right. And you want to pick up the beetle while you're invincible like this. And you actually kind of have to be fast for that to happen. So like if you're too slow, like bounce up here, and oh god, what was that? You might bounce and you're slow, and then you try to grab him. Oh wait, he's dead, and the trick's over, and you have to kill yourself. By the way, basically the backup for messing this trick up in most ways is to just kill yourself. It's almost always faster to try the trick again. Even getting it third try is faster than doing the level the normal way. But back to my point, you want to get the invincibility barrel and grab the beetle before he tries to get back up, so you have him in your hair. And thus begins step 3. So okay, so that's too far right. Don't do that. Once you have the beetle in your hair, now comes the most important part. The clash that you do here is different than what I showed you before, where you have 2 beetles. Instead, what we're using is a spot on this vine that's right around here. Basically the top of this horn. How's that a horn? Whatever that thing is, at the top of that is when you want to release and repress Y. Now, here's a really cool trick to kind of see where the timing is. If you jump into this corner and don't touch the D-pad, watch what happens to Dixie. Boom, she's facing left. I didn't touch the D-pad, I was facing right. I jumped in the corner, and she's facing left all of a sudden. So basically the game turns you around back to the left as you're falling along this wall. Right around that spot that I pointed to earlier. So at the time where the game automatically turns you left, that's when you do the release and repress. I think something about that automatic left turn is what makes it happen. And so yeah. So a good way to, like, before you even dive into it, I recommend kind of jumping into this a couple times to get the feel for it, because then you can see when you need to press it. That happened because I lost invincibility. Cool. But yeah, that's how it works. Now, you'll have more frames to do this, and it'll be much easier if you're able to jump way up into this corner versus kind of getting a bad jump that kind of arcs like that and hits like that. You want to try to jump all the way into this corner and fall, and it'll be much easier to do. So yeah, 2 different ways of doing it. Like, let's say you get a bad jump, like, yeah, that's really hard. But if you jump all the way in the corner, it's really easy. Well, relatively easy. So now I want to go over what's called the Kipple's Corner. He hates it being called that, but it's too late. The meme is already alive, and there's nothing you can do about it. But essentially what you can do is you can get on the corner of this vine right here. So right here, I'm kind of on a ledge that's between layers of it. So I'm like not quite at the top of the bramble, and not far enough right to falling completely off. If you get quickly settle Dixie into this area, it makes the jump really consistent. So if you like get there, you'll always get like the good kind of jump where you get far in the corner. Whereas if you try to go really fast, like I do, like you have a much higher chance of getting a bad jump where the timing becomes harder. So yeah, this is the Gipple's corner. Much more consistent. Now again, if you're going for the strat, you need to make sure you do the rope earlier and such that you go extra high, like I mentioned before. But yeah, so if you do the, regardless, what you want to have happen is you want to do the clash, and you need to make sure the Beetle's destroyed. Like sometimes, see right here, he's not dead yet. If I were to move out of the way, like if I got out of the way in time, he'd still be alive and be crawling around down here, which is bad. So make sure, like if he doesn't die, just make sure he dies. And also you'll notice there that time, I missed it the first time, but I didn't release Y, so I got to try again. So yeah, not all hope is lost if you go for it and you miss it, as long as you haven't released Y yet. You need to make sure you commit only when you get a good jump into the corner. But again, you need to do all this before invincibility wears out. As you've seen, I've died many times from invincibility wearing out as I explain things. Alright, so this moves us on to the final step, which is the movement after you do the clash. Alright, so I'm going to pop a save right here. So getting back up to the top, you want to not face left too long here. Don't do this. That's bad. I'll probably ruin the trick. Stay on the left side, or right side of that. Yeah, kind of close to the corner. And jump up here and face right as soon as you can. Now, from here on, there's a few different ways you can move, but most consistent is make sure you do not jump high. All your jumps through this section should be short jumps. So jump low there, jump through the guy, but with a low jump. And then you'll come over here. Okay, well, I was too slow because explaining. But yeah, so yeah, come up here, do a low jump through the guy. I keep forgetting that my invincibility is going to wear out. Okay, low jump through the guy. You can jump high there. It's okay to jump high there because you just don't want to jump too high in this area. So let me show you it working and not working, for example. So that one worked because I jumped low. That time I jumped really high. Oh wait, still worked. Alright, so this is not a very good demonstration, but you're at much, let's just put it this way, you're at much higher risk of it not working if you do big jumps. Also, that can happen. So I think the most consistent way to do this is to run up to him and jump through him, but do a short jump. And you can jump high across this gap. And you need to do the throw while facing left as usual. Once you've reached the left side of this crate here. Basically, what you're doing is you're loading this barrel, and when you face left, you're unloading it as you throw it. So, yeah, and that's how you do the wrong warp. A lot of people do this throw way too far right. You can do it all the way, like, not quite that far left, but you want to try to optimize how far left you do it. Like, over there, closer to the left side of the crate than the right side. Instead of doing like, I see some people come over and be like that, you know, that's clearly slower. It's not really safer. So other things about the movement at the end is you can also leave this dude alive and the trick will still work. However, you need to make sure there isn't a hook on screen. So if you're going to leave him alive, make sure that you destroy the hook and then jump over him. If you jump over him and the hook, that'll mess things up. So don't do that. Well, assuming you can make the jump all the way over the dude. Alright. So yeah, if you do that, I bet this won't work. Yeah. You didn't get anything. I was definitely in the right position and nothing happened. Which is the worst feeling in the world. So yeah, if you're gonna jump over him, make sure you destroy the hook and then jump over him. Now it works. And the final thing I wanted to mention here is what happens if invincibility wears out. Let's say you're too slow, you just barely make it up to this platform in time. What you want to do, wait for the hook to return to the guy, and then jump over him. This is a hard jump though, so like ideally this is like a worst case scenario, but if you're too slow, wait for the hook to return and then go over him. You want to make sure he doesn't have a hook out as you get to this point right here. Long story short, so if you know invincibility is going to wear out, just jump over him after the hook is put back away and it'll still work. But let's say we do it like this. God damn, it's sometimes it's more difficult for me to replicate wrong situations than to do it right. But yeah, hook was out, it wouldn't have worked. Just trust me. Alright? Once you get to here, and the movement isn't really too picky, you can either jump over this gap if invincibility is worn out, or usually I still have invincibility as I get here, so I'll actually keep running across the vine. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, let's actually see the whole thing in action a couple more times. Like I said, this one is the most complicated, I think. Although chain link chamber is close. Yeah, let me just try to get a good one here. And if I get a wrong one, I can try to explain why it didn't work. Okay, that was a good rope. Invincibility was loaded with the hook still out. Got the Beetle. Got the Clash. I'm gonna do a short hop through this guy. I run along the vine. That's my strat. And there you go. Made it look easy. Now, if you have bad ropes, like let's say you do that, this probably will not work. Let's find out. So yeah, let's even be bad with the movement there. Wow, dude, sometimes this trick makes no sense. But the things that I'm saying here are definitely the tried and true ways to like make this as consistent as possible. So yeah, that time I really screwed up the ropes at the beginning. This one might not work. Wow. Okay, yeah, so that didn't work. So let's say you get up here and you hold on. Let's say the hook is not out when you load the invincibility barrel. I can't seem to like simulate it. All right. It's kind of like, wow, it's harder to do it wrong than I thought. But yeah, let's say the hook is not still out when you get here. By this point, I'd be shocked if the IDs are still correct. Let's find out. Oh my god, I'm shocked. Well, consider me shocked. Usually what will happen in that situation is you'll get what's called back again bird. What will happen is you'll throw above the crate, and instead of getting the wrong warp, you'll get the bird. I'll show you what I mean. This should absolutely, certainly make it not work. Okay, well... So what'll happen sometimes when you do it wrong, I'm sure when you guys are learning this, you'll see it, is you'll do the throw, and instead of the barrel being summoned, the bird will come out of the crate and go flying across the screen to the left. And that's called back again bird, because it means you need to die, go back to the start of the level. Let's see if I'm gonna try it one more time. I just want to show you back again bird. This is funny. I'll do a high jump here. That's back again bird. All right. So yeah, that happened because I jumped too high through the crook guy. But yeah, if you do everything the way I've explained consistently, then it should work every time. But it's just hard to like figure out what you're doing wrong sometimes, which is why I'm really taking my time to explain this. So the slightly easier corner strat, let me just go over that one more time. You go extra high on this rope, like up here. And then you'll sort of settle yourself in this corner. And it makes the clash easier. Boom. And then finally, this is what I did for the longest time. I did this. It's much safer and easier. Just do the rope nice and consistent. You can do the corner or not. I like to just go for it, and it works. So yeah, I think I've explained everything about this. Let me read through my notes just to make sure. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, a lot of information, but believe me, you will definitely see this trick not work many times in your practice, and these are all the things that I think can cause it to not work. So yeah, at this point I would say we've covered all of the major wrong warps. Everything that saves like 30 seconds or more, we've covered. Now there's one more wrong warp that saves a pretty large amount of time. This is Mudhole Marsh. So let's learn that one. This one doesn't save as much time as the others, but definitely going to want to learn it sooner than later. Because I think it's at least, it's like around 20 seconds, I want to say. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, this, unlike the other wrong warps, this one is actually pretty late into the level. Which means you do still play most of the level. And this level happens to be almost unanimously among community members the hardest level to survive in. It's actually extremely hard. Web Woods might be a little harder, but I think most of us would agree that it's extremely easy to die in this level. And yeah, it's because all these crazy risky strats you'll be seeing here. So yeah, that's an example of one way you can easily die in this level. Let me see if I can get a clean one to midway. So yeah, you actually want to go underwater there because it's faster. You keep your roll going longer. This section is, no, I launched out because I was talking. But yeah, this section is actually probably the hardest part. Dodging all those vultures. You roll under midway there if you're crazy. But yeah, this is a wrong warp tutorial. I'm not going to go over all that stuff right now. That was more or less the right way to do it, except for one part after the hooks. But yeah, the wrong warp basically starts to begin around here. Well, actually, it begins when you get the cannonball. There's a more advanced strat you can do that kind of has to do with what you do over here, but I'm not going to go over that right now. So basically, you get this cannonball, and we're going to do some magic with it. Essentially, what's going to happen is if you do this trick correctly, when we bring this cannonball into the cannon there, it'll wrong warp us out of the level. But the setup for it's kind of crazy. But once you understand it, it's actually pretty easy. But at first, it definitely seemed extremely hard. The first thing you gotta do is you gotta jump over here without getting in the cannon. So that can be tricky at first. And then you're gonna jump again and throw the cannonball. Now, before I do this, I'm gonna point out a very important visual cue. This post right here. Here to cut that post in half. You want to land on the left side of that line. If you land too far right, trick will fail, guaranteed. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your throw around this area. Oh my god, I Thought the mouse was on screen, but it wasn't. Okay, so yeah, be left of this line. You're going to want to do your throw right around here and land here. So let's do that. See, I am left of where that line was. And now that I'm here, I'm going to actually chill here for a little tiny bit until this cannonball hits the beetle in the front. And now that the beetle is hit, you'll see there is a little explosion thing going on right now. That actually counts as an object in the object IDs. So now that that is loaded into memory, now you can cross over that line right here. And when you do, as soon as you do that, the third beetle over here spawns. Okay? So, long story short, you want that explosion on screen before you load this third beetle. So, let me show you the wrong way and the right way. Oh. So there, the right beetle was probably loaded before the explosion because I went too far right. Yeah, this probably won't work. Alternatively, you could be far enough left for it to work, but you could be too late, so the explosion's gone. And then if you go right and load the beetle, it still won't work. So it's kind of like, it's a fine little window here. You land to the left of the pole, go right after the explosion is happening, but not before the explosion's over. It's not as hard as I'm making it sound, but it will take a while. So this is correct. Right there. You will get the feel of that eventually, but as long as you know that pole's visual cue, it becomes a lot easier. So basically, after you do all that, you jump on the third beetle. And you're going to walk him over here and do a beetle clash on that guy. After you do the beetle clash, you need to face right again, because you want the camera to be out here. Now you're going to jump, face left, throw, land on the beetle so that he dies. So I did the throw before I landed on the beetle. Then you need to grab the cannonball and take it to the cannon. But you need to make sure you don't face right here very long at all. So you need to turn right to pick up the cannonball. But if you're like this, trick won't work. There's no way. No way that'll work. So what you need to make sure you do is just barely turn right when you pick up the cannonball. So again, face right after you have the invis, throw left, just tap right to pick up the cannonball, and boom, that wrong warped me. By the way, this whole time I forgot to mention, like, you can tell if a wrong warp worked because the screen will fade out faster if you got it right. So the way, like, you didn't see me exit the level before, but I knew it worked because as soon as I went in the cannon, the screen, like, immediately started fading out, whereas if you go in normal, it kind of takes a bit to fade out. So just FYI. So yeah, load the beetles in the correct order, clash, face right, throw, face left, don't face right long as you pick up the cannon, go through. Alright. Land left, load the third beetle with the explosion, clash. You're going to have to turn left to finish the clash and get the invis, but after you do that, you're going to want to face right again. Then turn around and throw. And if you want to be safe here, do a technique. It's you sort of hold down and like mash Y or mash right as you're holding down. I don't know how to describe it. Watch what my thumb does. Kind of like that. You can go in either direction. I practice this in the K rule fight a lot. If you do this, you'll make sure that you can pick up the cannonball while still facing left. That did not work. So yeah, maybe don't do it that way. Maybe just do it the right way, which is clash, face right, loop around, throw left, grab the cannonball, but don't face right very long. All right. So if you do it and it doesn't work, you either didn't load the beetles in the right order, you didn't have the camera far enough right before you threw the invis, you weren't far enough left when you throw the invis, and if you face right too long grabbing the cannonball. Yeah, I know that's a lot. It's basically a list of things that can go wrong. So make sure you load the beetles. After the clash, face right again, throw left, but make sure that during this throw, the camera should go far enough left that this flower is on screen. That's how you know the camera is far enough left during the throw. And you want to not let that flower go off screen if possible. So when I turn right to grab the cannonball, you don't want that flower to go off screen. So that worked. Let me allow the flower to go off screen, just so you can see. So the flower's on screen. Pick up the cannonball, it's off screen. Now it doesn't work. So those are pretty good visual cues. The position where you do the clash isn't too tight. You can actually, if you want to be more optimal, it's considered faster to do the clash further left. So like over here. But if you do it that way, you're at more risk of the basically the flower being unloaded. So if you want to be safe, I recommend doing the clash like right on top of the cannonball. Do it this way, it's pretty consistent. You don't have to face right very long at all. So that's called the Diddy method of the rung warp. It's by far the more optimal, easier way to do it. I mean, not easier. The faster way to do it is harder. Now I want to show you the Dixie method in case you're having trouble with the Diddy method, but you still want to do the rung warp. This is still kind of awkward and hard, but another way to do it is considered a little bit easier. It goes like this. Just run into this guy with the cannonball, and then jump on the third one. Like that. Switch to Dixie. Do it. Okay, so I did it too slow. So let me try again. Run into this guy, jump on the third one, switch to Dixie, grab this guy, do a Beetle clash. Now, don't actually get the invis yet. Like once you do the clash and it does that weird little hop thing, you want to wait for this Beetle to start to get up. So you see here when he gets up, this little explosion thing shows up again. It's an important thing to notice. That is an object and you need it to be loaded when you kill this guy. Then you throw facing left around where the cannonball is. And switch back to Diddy, because he's used in the next level, and that works right there. So again, just run into the first dude, jump on the third dude, switch to Dixie, do a clash, wait until he gets up, throw from left from where the cannonball is, from here on out, don't face right, boom. And that's the rung warp. Now, so yeah, if you fail it, what'll happen pretty much every time is you will go into this bonus here. When you come out of this bonus, you have a choice. You can either try to set it up again, which means you would have to now go all the way over here to the left and grab the cannonball again and come back. There really is no like very quick way to do it, but yeah, you can just try it again now. Oh, you see that right there? What happened is called an instant clash. So yeah, that worked. I was able to retry it and it worked. But sometimes I just want to point out, if you do your Diddy clash really late, like as late as possible before Diddy would take damage, instead of like having to knock the beetles together again to get an invisible object, it just immediately becomes an invisible object. Not really important to know that, just realize that's what happened right there. Yeah, if you're not comfortable and you fail it, you realize it is kind of slow to go over here, you know, it's hard to roll across these gaps and not die. You might want to just cut your losses and do the rest of the level like this. This is slower than doing the wrong warp again, but not by that much. And if you fail the wrong warp twice, you've definitely now lost time. So actually, the movement I did there was riskier than you need to do it, so let me try again. So a sane way to do this, if you want to be kind of careful, roll across that. Oops, that was not it. I'm not used to doing this because I usually just reset if I don't get this wrong warp. But yeah, let's display. Oops. Sometimes when I pop a save state, it switches columns. Alright, so second half of the level should look like this. Yeah, like that. That was correct. Then you can roll through this flitter / mosquito / dragonfly / bird. And then make sure you don't bounce on that, because if you bounce on that and onto the goal, you'll get the fanfare. So wait for that barrel to go by and then jump on it. So yeah, not that much slower than if you were to just, you know, try the wrong warp again. Alright, so those are definitely all the major wrong warps. There's one more I want to go over. Saved it for last because it's the worst risk-reward ratio. Topsail here in World 1 only saves 3 or 4 seconds, but if you fail it, it saves, or it loses like 15 seconds, and it's very hard. And the reason why it's very hard is you need to do a snake double jump, which is definitely an advanced technique. And it's also the main reason I have this controller cam here. But yeah, the way the snake double jumps work is, pretend I'm holding this Y button with my right hand. I just want to hold it with the left hand so you can see what I'm thinking here. You'll be holding Y the whole time. You'll do a jump. And as you're coming down from the jump, you'll press A and B at the same time. And it is a tight 3-frame window. There you go. So you'll notice when I do it right, Rattly makes a weird noise. That was not it. That. It's like a boop boop, like a quick little double sound. I usually do this all with my right hand, so I'm more consistent at it that way. It's kind of like holding Y and then mashing B and A at the same time. And the reason why this is so hard is there's no clear visual cue. The timing is really tight, and it's sometime when you're coming down from the jump. And it's basically, you want to press the button a certain amount of time before you land. Like, that's really what determines it. It's like X number of milliseconds before landing. So when you get the double jump state, you'll know you got it because you'll hear the double thing, the double sound. And I haven't showed it yet, but when you're in that state, you can jump again. Like that. So, yeah. It's a very hard trick to get used to. But in order to become, like, one of the top players, you'll want to learn this sooner than later, actually. Even though it's an advanced tech, my philosophy, even though some people might not agree with me, my philosophy is, if something is really hard, but you do intend to learn it someday, start learning it as soon as you can, because it's going to need the most practice. So do you want to save all that practice for months from now, or do you want to start doing it now? So yeah. So press B and A at a certain point as you're about to land, and you can jump out of it. Now what you're actually trying to do here is go to the left and dismount the snake up here. and dismounting with X. And if you got enough height, the snake should land right there as you dismount him. So, like that. Except you want to dismount onto the beetle, like that. So that's basically step 1 of the topsail rung warp. It's pretty hard. As you can see, like, I still can't get these double jumps like super consistently. Yeah, so that's step 1. Now that I've explained, oh, there's another thing I need to point out. So you get more height from double jumps if during, I call it the bobbling animation. When you hear that weird noise, it means you got it. The snake kind of like bobbles up and down in the middle of the air. He kind of just like sinks down a little bit and comes back up. That bobbling. That right there. That bobbling animation. If you're holding Y and moving left or right during that animation, you get even more height. It's called an omega true double jump. I don't really know why that's the case, but when I'm bobbling, I actually have released B and A here. You want to keep holding Y, and you want to be holding either left or right as you're bobbling, and then you want to jump out of it with precise timing. So hold A until you confirm, hold A and B until you confirm that you got it, then release it and hold left. So yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. And that allows you to get extra height. You can see when he does the bobbling animation, and I'm doing that, he actually bounces a little higher. See? It might be hard to see, but when he's doing that, he actually gains a little bit more height because you're holding left or right. And if you jump out of the peak of that height, that's how you get the max height with this snake jumps. And that's pretty much required to do this part correctly. So yeah, pretty complicated stuff. Very difficult to execute. But yeah, it's an advanced tech that you may want to learn so that you can do it someday. Now, you may have noticed I'm really bad at that because that's not how I normally do it. There's actually a cool trick for getting the double jump. It's unique to this situation, which is what you should be going for in runs. So similar to how you press B and A before you land on the ground when you're jumping as a snake, you also have a frame window as this crate is unloading, or as this crate is opening, that you can press B and A and achieve the same effect. So something like, didn't quite get it. Yeah, so yeah, I got it straight out of the crate. So I'm pressing B and A as I'm about to land on the snake. And it's still a 3-frame window. I'm pressing it too late. Ooh, another important thing I didn't mention. You can tell if you press B and A too late or too early. So if you land and you jump right away, but it's not a double jump, that means you pressed it too late. If you land and you just start charging up, it means you pressed it too early. So you can use that to sort of whittle down what the right timing is. So anyway, back to this. You want to press it during a certain window as that's opening up. There we go. Now I'm getting it back. It's kind of a feel thing. Like it can come and go, but yeah, I'm getting it every time now. Yeah. So you'll want to practice this a lot. I'm more consistent at getting it out of the crate than if I were to miss it and then have to do it this way. But a visual cue so that you know when to press B and A is our friend Mr. Explosion. So here we have a little explosion thing. you want to wait until the explosion becomes solid white. So a little bit before there. I'm actually a few frames after it started to be solid white. It's basically when it goes from being an open star to closed and solid. That's when you press B and A. That was too late. So let me see if I can pause on the frame I'm talking about. That was too late. There, that's the frame. So it's like it's still big, but it's solid and white. And I bet if I press B and A out of this pause, all right, it's too early, I guess. Basically, keep your eye out for that, and when you see it turn white, that's when you press it. But it's still a tight window. And now that I'm looking at it again, I'm missing it more often. So again, it's a feel thing. You got to get the feel for it. There you go. Yeah, come up here, get this Beetle. Now you're going to have to do a crazy clash with Dixie. You won't be able to do it on flat ground because these masts are sloped. What you need to do is you need to jump out and greet the Beetle mid-air and release Y and repress it while you're mid-air. Like that. So that's another reason why this trick is very hard. Alright, you've seen the snake enough. I'm gonna start I'm gonna pause or pop a save here. So yeah, you'll jump at the Beetle, and when you're like right in front of them, you release Y and repress it. Yeah, kind of like that. You go through them over here, and you'll do the throw, which I'll get to in a second here. I may have actually messed up the IDs because of the Kong swap I did. Let me make sure it's not messed up still. Oh, another thing. After you do the clash, you want to jump through him. Don't walk through him. Jump through him. Yeah, the IDs are wrong, so I need to start it over. The IDs are basically wrong because when I swapped Kongs, the camera kind of moved around. Let me do it right. Alright. This should work. Let me quickly confirm the IDs are right, just so I don't waste your time. Alright, so that's correct. So, jump into the guy. Basically throw it at him mid-air and jump through him. Then you'll do the throw. That was too slow. So yeah, it's kind of like that. Just jump through him. Try to do the throw. I keep missing it. And yeah, let's talk about what the throw should look like. So this is, in addition to the snake jump being really hard, this is another reason why the wrong warp is super hard. The position where you throw here is super tight. So let me give you 2 bars so you can get kind of a visual. Good thing they're both white. It's really easy to see. Yeah, this height right here. So in here, you can kind of use this black mark right here as a visual cue. That's like the window you have to actually do the throw height-wise. And that window is where Dixie's feet are, by the way. Like, that's where her feet should be when you do the throw. Facing left as usual. So let me see if I can do it. Yeah, that was it. So that should have been right in that window. Again, I'll try to hit that spot. Yep, so that was probably within the range. I'll need to watch the video back just to confirm, but I'm like 99% sure that those 2 bars are pretty accurate as to the height you need to be. Now, if you throw too high or too low, you have backups. So now here's the thing, you need to be aware that you threw too high or too low because you need to react quickly. If you find that you threw too high or too low mid-throw, you need to face right. So you'll be going like this, and you'll be, oh, too high. Face right. Face right before the throw finishes, or else this won't work. This backup is as hard to do as the actual trick, but hold on, let me save at a better place for this. So come down here. So throw too high. That was actually in the correct range, so it didn't work. Again, correct range. Wow, it's hard to miss now. All right, so that was too high. So I knew I was throwing too high, so I face right. What that does is it loads the barrel over there, so you just walk over. Make sure you face right mid-throw. And that was still too high. You can be too high, and you won't be able to do this. But if you're just a little bit too high over the range, so that was way too high. Just face right, still way too high. Okay, so that should work. So I face right, it's a little bit too high, but I walk over here, and I get the barrel, and it's still wrong warps. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're too low, you do something similar. That was still correct. All right, so I still face right mid-throw because I caught myself going too low. Now you have to keep facing right, and basically the same technique I mentioned in Mudhole, you kind of scoot backwards like that, the butt, like little butt scoot thing. So that's just to get you down here without ever facing right, and then go into the warp. Boom, wrong warp. So that won't work if you face left at any point. So let me just do it a few times so you can see like the scenarios and how I do it. Generally, I'll be trying to get it in the right spot. And so, okay, so I was too high. I turned right, and it's right there now. That was way too low. And it still worked. Yeah, it was like super low. But I caught myself, face right, do the butt scoot, go into the thing, still wrong warps. So yeah, you actually have a pretty big window if you know how to react. Key is, if you do get the right window, you need to keep facing left. So don't just always press right mid-throw. You have to confirm that, oh, I didn't get it, and face right before it throws over. Yeah, it's a lot of information, but having those backups will make it a lot more consistent. And at that point, the hard part becomes the snake jump as opposed to the throw, which seems very daunting at first. But yeah, that's how you do topsail. Let me do the whole thing. You haven't seen the whole thing at once yet. Let me see if I can get a couple good ones. I missed this stupid jump at the beginning. There we go. The Beetle, do the mid-air clash, jump through that guy. A bug just crawled into my nose, and I got the wrong warp. I'm not shitting you. There's a bug in my nose. Wow. That's a new one. All right. One more thing I want to point out is there's an optimal strat for this that's even more crazy, called Luke Sail. And this one looks like, come on dude, just do the jump. This one looks like this. Instead of facing right when you do the clash, you're gonna turn around right before it happens, like this. Okay, I missed it, great. So yeah, face right before the clash, there you go, like that. So now I'm facing right, and I can snake around here, instead of going around the right side of the mast. And this is actually about a second faster. I don't know why that didn't work though. It's easier to get the wrong IDs if you do it this way, but it's definitely faster by like up to a second. Let me just get it right so you can see it. Yeah, kind of struggling with it. So yeah, this is why everyone says like don't do topsail until you already have a good time, because it's super difficult and tends to fail a lot. I think what I'm actually doing wrong is the snake jump part. If you're doing this strat, you need to kind of get high before you start going left. Dude, this is kind of ridiculous. All right, there we go. Oh. Really? That's it. Okay. So yeah, that's like the optimal strat that's super risky, but if you have a good time already, you might want to start including that. But I've seen people with like low 40 times who don't do that yet, so definitely not necessary. Now, a visual cue for this I like to use is basically the right side. Oh my god. 1 second. I'm starting to drag around different things on my lap. So the right side of this pole right here, when Dixie crosses that threshold, that's when I turn left and release Y to repress. That's just a visual cue for it. So it's too fast for me to react and do it in real time, but yeah, just know that that's what I'm looking at when I'm... Dude, really? If the Beetle goes too far left like that, it's a good chance it won't work. Also, my visual cue didn't work there because I'd gone too far left. Alright. Wow, dude. Wow, dude. This trick sucks. There we go. So reached the left side or the right side of that pole, and that's when I did the little turnaround. And the backup strats for the throws still apply. That's too high though. One more thing I want to point out. Oh, God, dude, I don't know why I can't do this anymore. Sometimes you will dismount the snake, but the snake will be too low to land on this mast. And that's going to impact the IDs. It's kind of hard to simulate that. I really don't understand, dude. I clearly need to practice this a lot more. Yeah, so there you go. So if the snake doesn't arrive up there, you can still do the trick. It can still work, but when you come down here, you need to load a single mouse. Load a mouse. And then it'll work. If I didn't load that mouse, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah, no snake means must do mouse. Easy. Yeah, so I'm going to pretty much call the tutorial a wrap and go do this wrong warp a million times because I lost the ability to do the snake jump. Alright, so that was an example too low. Still got the warp. And yeah, so those are all the major wrong warps for any percent. Basically the order that I did all those is the order I recommend learning them in. And if you do all that, you'll be a donkey god in no time. One last thing I want to point out is there are wrong warps in both Ghostly Grove and Gusty Glade of World 5. But those are basically tasks only. The only humans that have managed to do them like took forever. Like it takes so long to set up that you actually lose probably minutes setting it up. So, whoa, people doing fireworks at 12:30 at night. Interesting. So yeah, don't worry about the World 5 wrong warps. Yeah, and that about does it. Good luck, guys. If you have any questions, you can visit my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CanisRollsDeep, or you can join the Donkey Discord, and you can find the link to that and all the strats at DKCSpeedruns.com. Catch you guys later.